The door is closed. Still nothing.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union must have turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here, men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the man at one loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. A lot of things point to the dock workers union. That's not a lot of things. We should have dug up more yesterday. Still, we need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
But aren't you curious to know what they have to say?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you...
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed.
And there's no public phones near.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway.
The lady is distressed. Perhaps something more upbeat might cheer her up.
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the whirling's...
A faint smile tells you she appreciates the effort. But at the moment, her mind is on...
The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions, but you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect, but they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you.
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the...
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely... Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that villain.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yeah.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but
My apologies, ma'am.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly,
the quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline. But you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite...
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. And we hit it off, and, well...
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't...
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of... Oh yeah.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds, hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officer.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoology.
It's not made up, officer. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and...
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind...
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Surely things can't be that bad?
You sense that she won't judge you, no matter what you say.
You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling itself located? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. great. See? We're getting somewhere. What else do you know about our city of splendor? Tattered as she may be, the new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should...
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? No, sadly not. Revachol is what's called a zone of control under an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have no government of our own, and what democracy we have is market-driven.
meaning buying is voting.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't really any cops in Revachol. Not in the truth, but we should stop for today.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You were doing quite well up until the...
A sigh.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what...
She means this sincerely. Worrying won't do you any good.
A defeat, I'm afraid. People of this archipelago tried to build something new. Something... It has something to do with everything. Someone more educated...
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a police officer.
Of course. Then, I don't know, someone rich maybe. Wealthy people are educated, though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez. But thank you, sweetie. You did make me forget about my worries for a while.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone.
Oh, I'd be delighted.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't.
Ooh, tough choice there.
Yes, it's the kind green ape. Half war story, half Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva. Yes, it has amazing healing qualities. Some soldiers reported growing back limbs, regaining their... Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the which is to say the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners.
I'm beginning to wonder if I should.
Please don't misunderstand me, either of you. I didn't mean to imply that Saolites are inferior to us. In many ways, you are superior. For example, your earwax doesn't have a foul odor like...
A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid. I'm glad you see it that way. Did we have anything more to do here?
I hope you were able to pawn that old trinket. Oh, thank you, dear. I confess I am glad to see it again.
Even the lieutenant seems happy with this.
Now, what else, sweetie?
You know, to hell with it.
Of course, officers.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid. Ah, fuck it.
Well, the biggest cryptid is, of course, the horrible giant of Coconur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Coconur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover all. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore.
Hui. No animal can be that large.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species survived. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow the creature to grow to these.
Great. This is great shit. Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou. The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have got.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
Yes, and she's quite mad too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream, the gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient? Sure, a perfectly good explanation. It dissolved in its own venom. Go on then.
What an interesting question. And the answer...
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them. Okay, I won't spoil your fun. What is...
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves in...
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be...
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But it could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights. Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists that, when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even...
She transforms when speaking about these strange animals.
They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mamadaqua. They grew quite obsessed with these little... Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadaqua they followed individually. That is a sad story. They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound.
This lady really should be a teacher. Psst. They cancel each other out. Psst.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so right after that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere.
Of course. Come on through.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what? I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really...
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revishol's problems? Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. Yes, them, but also women. Women, men of Wu. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Wu men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that women need to know their place. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking. That sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota. For the nation, smart. Best not to mention the women too often. That's why you're the head and I am the stomach. Of course you are, Bruta. Of course. A wink-shaped growl sounds from your ass.
can I help you? Another thing. Great. Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers. Who told you that? Fine, yeah, it looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of assholes around. If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know so I can forward them the repair bill. Yes?
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe that's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez? What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. Aggressive, you make your living enforcing violence.
So you were spying on us, and now you represent murder suspects. Just
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job. Ask your question.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
Aggressive? Listen.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Get sober. Do your job. Ask your question. Aggressive? Listen.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask. No one is emotional here. Aggressive? Listen.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask. Oh, I don't need privatization peons from a rent-a-cop. Just do your job. Ask your questions. Then get out of Mart.
Was that? Could it be the Col de Mamadakwa? No, it's probably just your... There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including you. Honestly, your ear isn't hearing a whole lot. The distant hum of the industrial harbor, the traffic. But, admittedly, there is a high-pitched noise somewhere there too. But then, isn't there always? There it is again. You are about to rediscover. It must be very close.
No, I don't hear the Col de Mamadakwa.
Of course he doesn't. He's deaf. Oh no. The sound. No. Too late. It's gone. Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated... The luxury of fine things. Just look at those black monk straps. After spending an entire day hustling, who's to say that you didn't deserve a pair of ridiculously expensive shoes on your tired feet? Beautiful things give you a rush. It's power. Crafting your style, draping your flesh in silk and leather, deciding. Remember, when they come to take it away from you, they're either a gateway drug or a booster.
Bastards! We have a right! Hey, work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone! Cops are here! You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down? Good. We're fighting for a cause here. Right to what? Besides, we're no that different. It helps if people see us talking. Cops and strike breakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Might be time. Then I let the fat bastards threaten ye. Cops tend to side with the high. I didn't trust the cops, and I can see you understand it. Right to work! Right to work! Right. Right.
His manner of speaking is wooden, the tone of voice bland and uninspired, almost as if compiling replies from a set of learned phrases.
Maybe you should ask them the questions. Like, why? We're not allowed to make a living here. Shame on you! We have families to feed!
So do we, scab!
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. Them all nonsense about boardrooms, workers' rights, while we have the right, hey, work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what.
Honest men and women, with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbour run smoothly in time of crisis.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No! They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy.
You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What? Ah. Te. Ye. Bug. Mace. Cost by Union grade. But I only fight. We're all workers, eh? Workers start together. Came from the eminent domain in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs. Heavy lifting, cargo hauling. Bouncer work. I know them well. Worked at Territorial. Rang a bell. Uh-huh. Was a long time ago. We were promised work. We'd be under, working. If the main gate's locked, would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. You tried to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked, and I didn't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean, head measurer, or whatever he is. He'd seem a nice guy, standing up there in the overhead passage. Won't let anyone by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Starting narrow bridge. I didn't know how the Union has a trained colour. Oh, like civilized folk, you mean? These need...
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home. At least...
No! They will give up. Eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then...
Looking for something? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial.
He eyes you wearily, unsure how to respond.
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded? Stuff's been getting looted lately.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved his country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some Kip boys smashed his lock and took damn near. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
If they were getting drunk inside the whirling in rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
What? Aren't we allowed to say there is a Kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not road to science, man. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. That's the one. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. Is your man alright? 100%. He's a lorryman selling his employer stuff. Broke the seals on his Humanox lorry. No doubt he's...
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. We'll talk.
Yup, nothing wrong with that statement. Your senses have nothing to add. You left the art.
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Entrapment is a practice whereby an officer of the law induces a person to commit a crime. So much for subtlety. Better get straight to the...
We have a credible...
A rhymesmith? This is quite credible. It goes with its cadence. We wouldn't say he's lying, sire.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man.
Wait, there's something here. You found some common ground with this man. Even impressed him. The next time you look in the mirror, though, remember those words.
We have a credible lead, sir.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire.
Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs. Sad.
Sir, it appears to be true. No drugs in sight. Not in the box of sunglasses or under the speakers.
That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But, I am not a lorry driver.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does.
So you admit you're a lorry...
No, I just said I work harder, and he's an asshole.
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. No! That's insane! It's the fat hater. He's been eyeing me for a week and he sent you here. Maybe he's the one, huh? Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy.
And what?
Crowd, you know.
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
No use. He's not telling us. He's too...
Okay, look. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please don't get...
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her.
It could be. He's not ruling her out.
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about... All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can...
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind?
It's true. We would of course a lie. But a kind heart is bah. Emotional rhetoric. He knew something and he didn't share it with you. That's a fact.
What color hair?
Then she may have dyed it again.
We can't just let it... It won't come to that. She shared this with you? Did this violent life include drug?
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. The grey-haired woman. Maybe... Wait, this guy says they're friends. Then, acquaintances. And he's okay with others ratting her out. Push Tommy and it will break his heart. And his spirit. Don't expect you to be pals.
When did she leave? The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy garden, the windows are clear. They've been This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins.
This is the one our men pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like you push the key and turn. It makes a cracking sound. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. So these are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s. Of the last, one of them particularly catches your eye. A centerfold of an ingenue attached. Right, there's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably grenade number 5. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past. This is Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic untimely. She wasted away in a drug den called Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world and the camera. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UK. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation. With quite a range too. Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there. But one odd detail does catch your eye. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? Another.
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except it's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its... It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out tool slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. It closed the rusty...
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this...
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must...
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well...
Unimportant.
We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation. But somehow, I doubt that Everard Clare would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road. We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over.
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time.
A kind of a worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses. Gotta be bloody stupid or freaking evil to scab. Or I guess, scared. Personally, I'd rather beg than scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something. We've explained the matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time.
Big guy. He means the leader of the scabs.
I was just messing with you. Imagine, you cops going on a strike. Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the wild north? Come to see the strife?
He's a chatty guy. Wants to talk about the strike. Return once you've met the union boss and are on a better footing with the organization. The file cabinet stands steady as ever. The drawer slide. The already familiar cold touch of the machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. The already familiar cold touch of plastic. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. 4952. And a moment of calling. Calling. Still calling.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lamy. How may I...
The voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man.
Video Revershal is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lamy. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos. Maybe you call to extend your rental period. Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the...
The call is terminated. This is the night watchman. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean, and it's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and...
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fact.
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth, the drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia, mini strokes, prophet's disease, sudden death, hair death, erectile malfunction, critical flatulence, watery blood, black mucus, uncontrollable weeping, increased sensitivity to la opera, inoperable joint disorder, total spinal collapse. Maybe this was a bad idea.
I'm not here to tell you what to do, detective.
You take the painkillers. They are yours now. You stand and exit the booth. The worn mat features the pat your finger finally. The lyrics to this container song, the accent is so thick.
Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then. Too old to lose. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder. The old man whistles and hums a jaunty tune to himself.
Oh, I'm just making some... Sure, mister. About what? Oh, most were on a strike.
So no one is...
Not everyone is, but Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's Union. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
No, I don't think they killed anyone. Let's better talk about something else. Titus and his boys do good work. I don't...
He probably doesn't know anything anyway. Who in the...
Yes. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town. And Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is... Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river.
He respects that word. That's obvious.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. Dr. Lemaitre said so. And she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer, aka the gardener?
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as...
Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off. Perhaps something to consider later.
Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch... Yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his own... Bye-bye.
seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting...
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair on the up...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as...
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly...
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol citizens...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that...
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or...
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. But, sure, if that's what's cool nowadays. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem anxious. Don't be. Everything's going to be... It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you...
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get...
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you...
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age... Yes, Harry. You are obviously in peak physical condition, and I salute both your initiative and your physical prowess. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. What? Harry, how could you say that to me? You know I appreciate a joke as much as any jolly fat guy, but I...
The reaction appears to be sincere, but it's impossible to tell with this guy, honestly.
You've hurt me, Harry. Me, a friend. But you know what? I trust you, like I trust all my friends. And I know you'll never talk to me about this again, because...
He's hiding his real reaction beneath courtesy.
Thank you for your understanding. We will continue to do what we must.
You too, Lieutenant. You know, I like you, but you never were my favorite. I'm a Harry guy.
None taken. Did we have anything else to do here, Harry?
Ah, yes. Your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up fail...
Actually, Rivershell doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small...
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard? My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very...
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from... I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No harm. It's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Well, you sure come off as very confident in all our interactions, Harry. You're a real man's man. It's Harry. Harry Dubois. And I can work with you, Harry. Now, what else can I do for you? Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man, do you strike yourself as a family man, Harry? That's why I like you, Harry. A good man knows both his strengths and his weaknesses, and you, my friend, you are one of the all-time greats. Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me.
This translates into, haha, you guys are so...
I find that very suspicious.
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just an...
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your action.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi, from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man.
That means he doesn't really know. A pity. The mystery of you will have...
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. Your gun...
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Yes, thank you for the hot tip regarding your lost gun, Harry. My men have indeed... Now, please, let the professionals do their job.
It did not come as a surprise to him. He might actually not be bullshitting.
I don't care about my gun. I love it, Harry. Wish I could be like that, but I can't. I have a responsibility to this community.
The officer is exaggerating. Of course we care about the missing firearm, and we are actively looking for it as well.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking for it is unfortunate, if inevitable.
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to... But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk...
Yes, that sounds good.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines. Incredibly talented at opening doors.
I'm not sure I understand. If you're asking us to break down someone's door, it's not...
Come now. I just need you to go open a little door for me and leave it unlocked. Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around...
You want to send someone a message that the police are...
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist Outside help? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. Fantastic, my friend. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker, too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. Oh, that's very nice. I haven't gotten around to her yet. I'm very, very busy, you see. I hope you're getting along. One thing I want to make very clear, Harry, is that we're all trying to do what's best for Martinez.
Whoa, that's so nice of him. Suspiciously nice.
Vanished? Harry, the woman left her casserole in the oven and couldn't make it here in time for the voting. Oh, did I leave my casserole on? Better go home and check. The election can wait. When she got back, the whole thing was over.
Wait, there was no mention of a casserole from Joyce.
Harry, Harry, Harry. Do not fixate on this little matter. Maybe it was a rabbit stew, or a hairdryer, or an iron. The point is...
This particular brand of humor he has, it makes for a fine distraction.
What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go. He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his family. Harry! I have little people in my organization. Honestly, I'm beginning to think you're a midget, Harry. I'm only kidding, Harry. You're not a midget. No one is. We're pals. Yes, yes. Low balling, of course.
His expression makes it clear. This is childish and irresponsible behavior.
I'm just a nice guy, Harry. I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't nice. Politics is all... If she actually wants to see me...
He doesn't want to see her. It's as simple as that.
Of course, I have no interest in what she is doing, but I myself have nothing to hide. Tell her about all of it. My brother's picture, my singing swordfish clock. Tell her how overweight I am and how I'm helping you find your lost gun.
It is rather interesting to tell people things about each other, isn't it? It was nice telling him about her right now.
I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever...
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And he doesn't care either.
Yes, yes. What's that, Harry? You're getting a little pale. Is it the words paranoid schizophrenic and lost gun in one sentence? Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here. You're one of us now. A real red and white Union man.
rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. Allumer on, éteindre off. With a loud whine, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this...
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. Before you stands a cargo container.
You do? There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here to look for that. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
You attempt to no avail. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement.
Body betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
You have succumbed to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Yes.
He means alcohol.
Correct. My small skull servant. Al Ghul is an ancient Ilmaran poison. A parasitic fungus that has colonized your race. It is a trick the desert pygmies played on you. For
intentionally fermented drinks have existed for 10,000 years.
This is a fabrication the alchemists of Yizot and Bashir and the Rolam and Rul. Why don't you have another drink?
Oh yeah, Measurehead.
This is going well for Measurehead.
No, you don't. You need to get another drink.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Look at my chronology. I am the pinnacle of my haplogroup. The pink blob is a bad example, even of yours. It saddens me. You were once a noble and you gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history. Bring your troops to the seminar. The walls will be lined with bottles.
You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. It would enrich you rhetorically. Well, yes. Why? Don't you want to be a Seminese supremacist? So what if you're not Seminese? You can be anything. He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic cup.
He had nothing to do with it.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is also to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Of course you are, Revacholian man. The failure of, above all, rampant multinational finance still reigning large. Tell me, where have you gotten your love of pathetic communism from? Degenerate youth culture? Rock and roll music? Stop explaining yourself. No one cares about your beliefs. The conversation, of course it does. You are a degenerate individual. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race. We are the future. I am a descendant. No.
He would be appreciative if you did not further chase this line.
You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today.
I think this racist is better than the last. But the next racist...
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits. A protruding occiput and an indented zygomatic bone.